A few days ago, I put out a short on the parable of the widow and the judge. And we're going to watch it in a second, but it's a little quick story about a widow with an issue and a judge who really doesn't care. Let's watch that and we'll come back to it. Jesus was telling them a parable about their need to pray continuously and not be discouraged. He said, "In a certain city there was a judge who neither feared God nor respected people. In that city there was also a widow who kept coming to him, asking, 'Give me justice in this case against my adversary.' For a while he refused, but finally said to himself, 'I don't fear God or respect people, but I will give this widow justice because she keeps bothering me. Otherwise, there's going to be no end to her coming and embarrassing me.' The Lord said, 'Listen to what the unjust judge says. Won't God provide justice to his chosen people who cry out to him day and night? Will he be slow to help them? I tell you, he will give them justice quickly. But when the human one comes, will he find faithfulness on earth?'" So, in the story, the widow has an issue and she keeps going to a judge to get a resolution of whatever the issue is between her and her adversary. The judge doesn't care about anybody or anything except himself. I'm sure he's very proud that he wears the moniker of a judge, doesn't care about all that comes with being a judge. Eventually, he gets fed up enough with her showing up constantly and embarrassing him that he does finally give her a resolution to her issue. Now, I heard many times, and I've said, and I've been myself, the widow. I always talk about how you have to be the advocate for yourself. And sometimes that means being a pest, like the widow. But there is a line towards the very end of that parable, and that's what I want to talk about today. So Jesus said, "Listen to what the unjust judge says." And then he asked the question, won't God provide justice to his chosen people who cry out to him day and night? Will he be slow to help them? I tell you, he will give them justice quickly. This is the line we're going to talk about. But when the human one comes, will he find faithfulness on earth? Now, I'm using the Common English Bible. In NIV, in King James, it would not say when the human one comes. It would say when the Son of Man comes. But the question, will he find faithfulness on earth? One of the ways to interpret that is, do you recognize the answer that you're given? The name in Aramaic for Jesus is Yeshua. Yeshua translates into salvation, one who saves. Many, many times we cry out to God for redress of an issue. God answers, but we don't recognize, we don't see the answer. How many times have you heard the saying, sometimes God's answer is no, when people talk about praying to God and is seemingly and nothing comes of the prayer. I think God does answer our prayers. Many times we just don't recognize the prayer is being answered because we don't recognize the answer. When Jesus came, he was not recognized. Salvation came to all humanity, and we didn't recognize salvation. We have been crying out to God. God answered our prayer, and we didn't recognize it. The Jewish people, by and large, didn't recognize that the Messiah had come. They missed it. Why? Because they were looking for a different answer. Because they were looking for a warrior to save them from their oppressors, their human oppressors. The warrior that came was saving them from themselves, saving them from having to pay the wages of sin, and they didn't recognize it. I often tell people very frequently, when you're looking for God, trying to see God in your life and in the world, look to what I call coincidences that in hindsight you realize are not coincidences. How many times do you find some occurrence where you sit back and, well, that was well timed? What a coincidence. It's not a coincidence. What you were getting was what you needed at the time, even though you didn't know you needed it. What you were getting was an answer to a prayer that you may not even realize you had lifted up. Will you recognize your salvation when he presents himself to you? Or will you decide there is no God, or God just doesn't care because I got no answer? I still have my problem. When the truth is, you just did not recognize your answer. Be the widow in your life. Advocate, advocate, advocate for yourself. Never be ashamed to advocate for yourself. Always advocate for yourself. Never don't advocate for yourself. You have to advocate for yourself. But remember that last part of this parable. Look for those coincidences that are not coincidences, which will help open your eyes. So when salvation comes, you see it and recognize it. Have a great day.